Hi, and welcome to Little Aller Junction. The real Aller Junction is in South Devon, about 1 mile west of Newton Abbot Station. There was quadruple track from Newton Abbot to the junction, where the tracks to Torbay separated from the tracks to Plymouth and Cornwall. There are still 4 tracks from Newton Abbot today, but the junction is now closer to the station, and what was a junction is now merely a divergence. The farm access bridge at the right of the layout lasted until a few years ago, when it was demolished to make way for the new dual carriageway which now runs close beside the railway. The tunnels at the left hand side of the layout never existed in real life, but I had to finish the scenic section off somehow. The point work on the layout represents the track as it was from 1925 until 1987. The signal box and semaphore signals remained in use until 1987, when the signalling in the area was modernised. The layout was designed to fit into the back of a hatchback in order to make it cheap and easy to transport to exhibitions. This dictated the size of the layout, which is 7 feet long by 3 feet 2 inches deep. The layout was planned using AnyRail software. One of the challenges was to get sufficient height difference between the tracks at the left hand side of the layout to allow trains on the tracks at the front to pass underneath the tracks at the back in the storage sidings. There is only a short distance available, and gradients have to be kept as gentle as possible. The solution was to make the Torbay line drop after the junction while the Plymouth line rose. In reality, the tracks to Torbay rise after the junction, and the line to Plymouth drops just a little before the steep climb known as Dayton Bank commences. Open baseboards were used for this layout. An open framework is made with cross members profiled to support the track base and the known scenery requirements. This helps to provide the effect of a railway being built through the scenery rather than the scenery being built around the railway. The AnyRail software was able to provide spot heights for the track at various points in order to allow the cross members to be profiled to the correct height to support the track base. The scenery was constructed in a traditional way: wire mesh covered by papier-mâché, followed by white filler. This was then painted and greenery added. I found the static grass gave quite a pleasing effect. A photo of the actual place was used for the back scene. This was edited to remove most of the modern additions and also adjusted to make it fit the baseboard length. The scenery was then made to blend in with the back scene. Trains run from the storage sidings through the junction and back to the storage siding they came from. Operation is quite simple. Each storage siding is numbered, and there is a numbered button on the control panel to match each siding. Just pressing the required button on the control panel changes all of the points for the train in that storage siding to run through the junction and then onto the storage siding it came from. This is important because it would take quite a bit of time and thought to work out how to change the points through the junction for each train. Control of the layout is simple analog with pico point motors on the points. The point routing is achieved through a diode matrix. At exhibitions, the layout is run in either 1963 or 1968 mode. Trains running in 1968. The new livery for British Rail was announced in 1966. By 1968 many coaches had received the new blue and grey livery, but a lot of coaches remained in the earlier maroon livery. This led to many trains being a mixture of both blue and grey and maroon coaches. Locomotives received their new blue livery when they went into the works for overhaul, so in 1968 many locos still retained their pre-corporate blue liveries. Almost all trains were hauled by diesel hydraulics at this time and would remain so for another few years before being replaced by diesel electrics. Passenger trains were dominant, and you will see many of these on the layout. In 1968 the decision was made to use
double-headed warships on the Premier Expresses to the West Country. The extra power allowed for faster acceleration and better hill climbing on the banks in Devon and Cornwall, which in turn allowed for faster services. One such train can be seen on the layout heading through the junction towards Cornwall. Some long-distance passenger trains were split at Newton Abbot into Plymouth and Torbay portions, and this is represented by a shorter length passenger train heading towards Torbay. Local passenger trains were entirely in the hands of DMUs. You will also see a number of freight trains passing through the junction. These have been put together to represent the trains that would have been seen passing through the real Aller Junction at this time. There is a fairly long train of vans heading west. This train also includes a few other types of wagon, such as the Class B oil tankers. These would have been carrying diesel oil to the diesel depots in the far west. Another train is the milk train from Cornwall to Kensington. This train ran daily and was given the same priority as an express train. You will also see the Clayliner train, which is covered in white china clay dust. This train ran from Cornwall to the Potteries. There may also be a short empty engineers train running back from the Torbay line and a short parcels train, also on the Torbay line. Thank you for listening. I hope you have enjoyed this brief description of my layout.